Hi, you guys. Welcome back. I'm Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Oracle. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about the sun moving into the water cardinal sign of Cancer. Here are the start times for each section. We've got lots of energy happening this cycle from very different aspects. So, thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. All right, so we can look at charts, I can give you dates, we can put up words and all of those things, and that is helpful. However, I kind of want to establish a little bit of a theme for this video and for Cancer because I think the essence of Cancer is vulnerability. It's a water sign, so it puts us in touch with our emotions, and it is a cardinal sign, which means it's an initiating energy. It's an energy that says, move, start something, change the way things are, dive in. And so we put those things together and we can really understand a lot about the Cancer archetype. And in fact, in the description box, I'm going to put a link to one of the best videos that I discovered this year, which is Brene Brown's TED Talk on vulnerability. If you have the extra, I think it's 10 or 15 minutes, man, it's such a great video and talk and so relevant. This cycle, when it starts, total mixture. So it's Venus, the planet of love, and the sun in Cancer. But I'm also highlighting here other planets in water signs. So we have a water sign thing going on with Mars retrograde, digging back into Scorpio, intense emotional energy, probably the strongest emotional energy. It's fixed and it's Pluto ruled. So we have a just digging in kind of thing going on there. And then we look at the third water sign of Pisces, and there we see the south node and Neptune in this chart. And of course, Chiron's also there. So we get this watery emotional element happening during this cycle. But right from the get-go, when the cycle starts, we still see Mercury hanging back in Gemini, actually, just midway through here, still making a tight, hard right angle to Neptune. That's part of that grand mutable cross that we talked about last month. I mean, when this cycle gets started, like I said and leading up to it in last month's video, it's like, whew, it's a lot of energy. We have choices about what we do with it, but yeah, big full moon that was at 29 degrees of Sagittarius. Mercury is part of that in that Gemini energy, and of course the last of the sun, hitting that strongest degree of Gemini. Those guys opposite Saturn. Now Mercury opposite Saturn, squaring Neptune and the south node, and then squaring up there in Virgo, Jupiter and the north node. So we still, as this cycle starts until the 29th, we have a strong mutable release, let go, forcing changes, this change energy happening. Then on the 29th, that's the day I'd say things, really start to settle into Cancer, because we have Mercury leaving Gemini, then helping some of that mutable cross energy dissolve. Saturn and Neptune are going to be moving further apart for now. They'll come back to a square in September, but some of the pressure coming off that, so that all that stuff we were releasing now being replaced by what we're bringing in. So Cancer moving forward, even if it moves sideways like the little crab, we're definitely making some forward progress there. And on the 29th, we have Mars. It's going to stop going retrograde, meaning when they stop and they station, they start moving forward. So another sign of like, okay, we can start, we've been through so much this year, but we can start to make some progress. Next chart, July 4th. Look at there. You guys who know me well and look at my videos know a stellium when you see them. Look at Cancer. We like a little, everybody's there. That means they're for the day, a couple days there. We have, Venus the sun and Mercury there. So of course they're making the water trines. But the other part to notice is, especially in that chart, is they are opposite Pluto. Pluto is the planet that is about transformation. It's in the cardinal sign of Capricorn, ruling our governments, institutions, banking, etc., etc. And, serendipitously enough, on the birth date of the United States of America. Well, obviously, we're in a huge time of transformation here. Then those guys are making right angles to Uranus over there in Aries. So that's another aspect of this cycle, that we're going to have a lot of cardinal energy evolving. And interestingly enough, I just want to point this out. So we had, Mercury leave Gemini and start to take the pressure off that mutable cross. But now it's getting replaced by cardinal energy. Now, this isn't a grand cross by any stake. That'll happen next year when we have Jupiter in that fourth cardinal sign of Libra. So yes, Jupiter moves into Libra in September. We'll talk about that in the Sun into Virgo edition. So the cardinal thing is going to pick up. So this is a time to start tuning into that. It's like, oh, yay. What do I want to have? And all the emotional honesty that this cycle gives us the ability to tap into can really inform that. The last chart that I'm going to show you in this part of the video is for July 19th, the full moon in Capricorn. So this is the moon that started July 4th, fills up, leading us right into July 19th, where it is conjunct Pluto. Remember, I talked about governments and institutions. Well, this, of course, is when one of the major parties is meeting and having its convention. And of course, the following week in the Leo cycle, the other party will. I'm not going to go into that too much, but I need you to see, wow, that cardinal energy builds throughout the cycle. The other important thing is that you will have noticed that Venus and Mercury by that time will have moved on into a fire sign, and that is Leo. So we actually start to get a grand fire trine fired up by the end of this cycle. So that's the big overview. I'm going to go into a little more detail on the different aspects, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so when we have the planets pass through Cancer, they are first going to make a nice trine to the planets in Pisces, because the planets in Pisces are at an earlier degree. As they move on into the later degrees of Cancer, that would be the Sun, Venus, and Mercury. When they transit Cancer, they will then finally ultimately connect with Mars in Scorpio, because Mars is in the later degrees of Scorpio. Those are some times of really digging into the emotions and the feelings. And trines are one of our nicer aspects in astrology, because we have like energy. Everything's water here, and they're not in conflict. They're supporting. Now, some people say, hey, you can't make progress without that. But I think right now, in the middle of so much chaos in the world, some time of retreat. Water is a symbol for so many things in the universe, but motherhood, nurturing, healing, really, I think, is the fundamental. We think of our oceans, we think of water, what it moves, rivers, all those things, but whatever you're doing this cycle, some extra ritual baths, and really, I'd say more internal reflection, digging up, especially through June 29th, while Mars is still back there in Scorpio. So let that Mars in Scorpio piece help you, and then we can really work with that healing aspect of water. So let's draw on that. Okay, let's move on to the cardinal, because I want to, cover a lot of ground today. Okay, so I'm going to have some charts and some postcards as I'm talking about cardinal energy. So those of you who, watch these videos or, that kind of thing, you all know cardinal signs just are the motivators. They get us going. They are the initiating signs of their seasons. They get things started. And again, as I was saying at the top of the video, after such a long, this year with that big Jupiter retrograde the first 4 months of the year. Now Jupiter is thankfully picking up some speed. I think we're all ready for some, so like all this stuff we've been working through and that massive mutable cross, we're just ready to like, okay, where have I landed? What's new? What's actually started to show up in my world? And I really think that this cycle is going to show us even more of that. It's all unfolding. And these cardinal energies, yes, they are 90-degree and 180-degree. Like last month, we had the mutable cross. And so this time we're getting some strong angles from the cardinals as the planets move through Cancer. They're going to connect with first with Pluto over there in Capricorn. So we're going to get the oppositions between the Cancer thing and the Capricorn thing. Then the planets going through Cancer are going to clash with Uranus over there in Aries. And there are some conflicts to resolve. Aries always wants to do things new. Capricorn wants to stay traditional. So they're at odds. And then you have these planets in Cancer, jumping into the battle. What do we care about? And Cancer brings up security, but its mission is cardinal. So again, that theme of vulnerability, we have to be brave. We have to forge new ground in order to evolve. So that's the cardinal aspect. A lot of energies to draw on there, and they are pushing us forward. So we're not going to be able to stay too comfortable if we really want to grow and evolve. So push yourself, get a little uncomfortable if you want some growth. All right, and the last part I want to talk about during this video is the fire energies. Not just being a Leo, you guys would like know me, you're like, oh my God, she's already talking about Leo. Of course we would. The thing is, I'm like all turning red. Like, there's actually a reason I'm doing this. We have on the 11th and the 13th, we have Mercury and Venus changing signs and heading on into Leo. And as I mentioned at the top of the video, that's significant. Leo is fire. It's fixed. It's a leader. It has courage. The lion roars. And it is going to be connecting first with Saturn in Sag. It's a trine, so it's harmonious, but it's involving Saturn. So little tug of war there. But the real unpredictable element of that equation is there in Aries, instigating Aries. We're gonna have, I get all excited, you hear my voice getting loud. We have Uranus, wild, unpredictable Uranus in Aries. That's more connection with that Martian energy. Mars might be back in Scorpio, but the sign it rules, Aries, it's being occupied, as we like to say, by radical Uranus. Uranus just says we got to change things. We got to, make things different. So these planets now moving into the fire energy should really kind of amp up the things that we feel really strongly about. So if we're talking about the overall trend here, I feel like the Cancer part works very nicely with the Leo part. If we're talking about vulnerability and we need courage, so this is Mercury moving into Leo, being lion-hearted, and Venus, where we love, how we love, to be loved and to love. So there's a lot of power happening during this cycle. We start with the last of that huge grand mutable cross, which was pretty intense, and we get this cycle again moving through the watery aspects, our feelings, cardinal stuff pushing us forward, ending up in courageous Leo, setting us up for the sun to move into Leo, which is next month's video. We've made a journey, and so a lot for you guys to think about. And I'm just going to kind of leave it there because I don't want the video to be too long. But lots to think about as we reach the end of this cycle. Again, one ending with a big, full moon. Sun will go into Leo on the 22nd. Full moon is on the 19th of July. So lots going on. I hope you find that Leo courage and that mostly that courage to be vulnerable. All right. Well, again, thank you for watching the whole thing. This is Elizabeth. I put this stuff at the end. I have a site called Elizabeth's Oracle. I do a show with my friend Kristy and that one's already posted by the time we did this video because we recorded that on July 15th. So that link is in the description box. How to connect with me is in the description box, but you can get on over to Elizabeth's Oracle and please sign up for the newsletter. This month the Cancer edition has a special that's only available for the newsletter people, and so I'm just gonna leave that there. But for the YouTube people, I always put this on here: 5 free minutes with your first order. So if you order a reading at my site, you can do an intuitive reading, astrological reading. You do get 5 minutes with that first order. I really appreciate your support, and we're gonna see you when the sun comes into Leo. Big stuff ahead, and really, just wishing you a beautiful Cancer cycle and, strength and power as you dive in to the wisdom of your heart.